Welcome to my channel, where we share powerful and inspiring stories that will motivate you to never give up. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and join us on this journey. Now, let's get into today's story. My name is Malik Johnson, and this is my story. I grew up in Atlanta in a small apartment where every dollar mattered and every day felt like survival. My mom worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. I never knew my father. From a young age, I promised myself I would find a way out, not just for me, but for her. I worked long hours in a grocery store, stacking shelves, mopping floors, saving every penny I could. I dreamed about building something bigger. I would stay up late reading books on business, watching videos on how to invest, teaching myself how to turn nothing into something. But life has a way of testing you, and my biggest test came in the form of the woman I loved. Her name was Vanessa, my high school sweetheart. She had been with me through the early struggles, and I thought she would be with me until the end. One night, we sat together in a small diner. I reached across the table, holding her hands. I told her, "Baby, I know things are hard right now, but I swear to you, one day I'm going to make it. I'm going to build something big. I'll give you the life you deserve." She pulled her hands away and looked at me with a cold expression. She said, "Malik, I can't do this anymore. You keep talking about dreams, but dreams don't pay the bills. You say one day, but what about today? I'm tired of waiting." I felt my chest tighten. I leaned closer and said, "But I'm working, Vanessa. I'm building something. Don't you believe in me?" She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "No, I don't." She stood up, grabbed her purse, and walked out, just like that. She left me sitting there, staring at the empty seat across the table. The love of my life gone because I was poor. That night I walked home in the rain. My shoes were soaked, my stomach was empty, and my heart felt shattered. I lay on my bed staring at the ceiling, and in that silence, something inside me changed. If no one believed in me, then I would believe in myself. If she left because I was poor, then I would build wealth so great no one could ever doubt me again. I whispered to myself, one day I'll be a billionaire. And when that day comes, they'll all see. That was the night my true journey began. After that night, I made myself a promise. No more excuses, no more waiting for luck, no more hoping someone would save me. I was going to save myself. I doubled my hours at the grocery store. Every dollar I made, I saved. I stopped going out, stopped buying things I didn't need, stopped wasting time. While everyone else was partying on the weekends, I was at home with books, notebooks full of ideas, and my old laptop that froze every 10 minutes. I failed a lot in the beginning. I tried selling t-shirts online. Nobody bought them. I tried flipping phones. I got scammed more than once. I tried starting a small cleaning business. It barely paid enough to cover supplies. Each failure hurt, but each failure also taught me something. I kept telling myself, if I keep learning, one of these doors will open. One day, while scrolling through the internet, I came across a video about investing in digital currencies and new technology. Most people laughed at it, but something about it caught my attention. I stayed up all night learning, reading every article I could find, watching every tutorial. The more I learned, the more I saw opportunity. I started small, $50 here, $100 there. I cut my meals down to the cheapest things I could buy, just so I could put more money into my investments. At first, nothing happened. Then one day, I checked my account and realized my $100 had turned into $200. Then 200 became 500. For the first time, I felt like maybe I wasn't crazy. Maybe I was onto something. Still, it wasn't easy. There were nights when I lost almost everything, times when I thought about quitting. But every time I remembered Vanessa's words, "No, I don't believe in you," that sentence echoed in my head like fuel on fire. I used the pain as motivation. 2 years passed slowly. My small investments grew. I started learning how to trade smarter, how to study the markets, how to build systems. Instead of guessing, I expanded into other businesses, small e-commerce stores, digital marketing, anything I could learn. I wasn't rich yet, but I was no longer broke. I turned a few $100s into tens of thousands. I remember the first time I was able to move my mom out of that old apartment. I handed her the keys to a small house. It wasn't a mansion, but it was hers. She cried and hugged me, and in that moment, I realized this journey wasn't just about proving Vanessa wrong. It was about proving myself right. But I wasn't done. I wanted more. I wanted to build something massive, something that couldn't be ignored. I wanted to take the world by storm. So I took a risk. I gathered everything I had and started my first real company. It was a tech startup focused on financial education for people like me, people who came from nothing and needed a chance to learn how money really works. The first year was brutal. Investors rejected me. Friends doubted me. Some even laughed at me. I worked 18-hour days, sleeping in my office, eating noodles, and drinking cheap coffee just to stay awake. But slowly, piece by piece, things started to click. We gained our first 100 customers, then 1,000, then 10,000. The app was spreading faster than I could keep up with. By the time I turned 27, my company was valued in the millions, and I wasn't done yet. Success changes everything. The same people who once laughed at me started calling me a genius. The same investors who once told me no were suddenly begging to be part of my company. The app exploded worldwide, reaching millions of users. My name started appearing in magazines, podcasts, and TV interviews. At 29, I was worth over $1 billion. Me, the same Malik who once mopped floors and walked home in the rain with holes in his shoes. The same Malik who had been told he wasn't enough. I bought my mom a mansion. I told her she would never have to work again. I donated millions to schools in neighborhoods like the one I grew up in because I knew what it felt like to have talent but no resources. I built scholarships, funded small businesses, created opportunities for people who just needed one chance. And then one evening, while I was attending a charity gala, I saw her, Vanessa. She looked almost the same, beautiful, elegant, dressed in a sparkling gown. The moment our eyes met, she froze. I could see the shock on her face. She walked toward me slowly, her smile nervous but warm. "Malik," she said softly. "Is that really you?" I nodded. "Yeah, it's me," she laughed nervously. "Wow, look at you. I've been following your success. You're everywhere. I always knew you were destined for something great." I raised an eyebrow. "Really? Because I remember you telling me you didn't believe in me." She hesitated, then touched my arm. "I was young." "Malik, I didn't understand. I made a mistake. I've missed you. I think about you all the time. Maybe we could start over." For a moment, I stayed quiet. My mind flashed back to that rainy night, to the words that broke me, to the loneliness that fueled my rise. I looked into her eyes and saw someone who only wanted me now because of what I had become. I smiled politely. "Vanessa, I'm not the same man you left, and you're not the same woman I loved. That chapter is over." Her smile faded. "So that's it." After everything we had, I nodded. "Yes, because when I had nothing, you left, and the people who truly love you don't walk away when you're down. They stand by you. Goodbye, Vanessa." I walked away, leaving her standing there in silence, surrounded by the sound of music and laughter. For the first time, I didn't feel bitterness. I didn't feel anger. I felt peace. Because I realized I had already won. My success wasn't about proving her wrong anymore. It was about proving myself right. After that night, I felt lighter. For years, I had carried the weight of her words on my back. I had chased success partly to silence that voice that told me I wasn't enough. But walking away from her reminded me of something bigger. My journey was never about revenge. It was about purpose. I threw myself deeper into my work. But this time, it wasn't just about building wealth. It was about impact. I expanded my company into multiple countries, launched programs that taught financial literacy to millions, and partnered with schools and communities that needed it most. The money was good, the recognition was good, but what mattered more was seeing kids who reminded me of myself, kids from the same kind of neighborhoods I grew up in, now having the tools to believe in themselves. That meant everything to me. And somewhere along the way, I met someone new. Her name was Aliyah. She wasn't impressed by my money. She didn't care about my cars, my house, or my fame. She cared about my heart, about the mission I was on, about the man I had become. We met at a business conference where she was speaking about education reform. After her talk, I introduced myself. She smiled and said, "I know who you are." But the real question is, who are you when no one's watching? That question hit me harder than anything Vanessa had ever said. We started talking, and one conversation turned into another. Months passed, and I realized something. For the first time in years, I felt a connection that wasn't built on what I could provide, but on who I truly was. With Aliyah by my side, I learned balance. I learned to slow down, to appreciate life, to stop chasing ghosts from my past. She reminded me that love isn't about what someone can gain from you. It's about what they're willing to give, even when you have nothing. I asked her to marry me 2 years later, and she said yes. On our wedding day, I looked around the room at all the people who had believed in me, the people who had stood by me when I had nothing. My mother, my childhood friends, my business partners who took risks with me, and Aaliyah standing there as my wife. It was in that moment I finally understood success means nothing if you can't share it with the right people. I had gone from being the boy who was left because he was poor to the man who had everything money could buy. But what mattered most wasn't the billions in my account. What mattered most was love, purpose, and the people who truly believed in me when I had nothing. Looking back now, I can see every step of the journey clearly, the nights of hunger, the rejection, the heartbreak, the failures, they were all necessary. Without them, I wouldn't have had the fire to keep going. Without them, I wouldn't have become the man I am today. People often ask me, Malik, what was the turning point? What was the secret? The truth is, there was no secret. It was pain. Pain became my teacher. Pain taught me discipline. And pain taught me resilience. Pain taught me that if I wanted something badly enough, I had to be willing to outwork everyone and outlast everyone. But the biggest lesson I learned is this: never let someone else's disbelief define your worth. Vanessa didn't believe in me, and for a long time that broke me. But if I had listened to her, I would still be mopping floors, living in that same broken cycle. Instead, I chose to believe in myself. And that's the message I want you to hear. People will doubt you. People will walk away. People will laugh at your dreams. Let them. Because at the end of the day, it's not their belief that matters, it's yours. If you're sitting in a small room right now with no money, if you're working a job you hate just to get by, if you've been told you'll never make it, remember my story. Remember that the boy who was once left because he was poor became a billionaire because he refused to give up. I'm Malik Johnson, and this is proof that sometimes the greatest revenge isn't anger or bitterness. The greatest revenge is success. And when you find that success, don't just use it to shine for yourself. Use it to light the way for others, because true wealth isn't measured by what you keep. It's measured by what you give.